Slut-orama and her disco Dave.
It's okay, I got it. You're, Buffy, right? Oh, I'm Faith.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say there's a new Slayer in town.
I wasn't recording that the whole time. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Fiction Tea Reviews. And today we're going to talk about Buffy Season 3. Finally, the review is here. Let's get into it. Buffy Season 3. It is a 1997 drama. It is 42 minutes per episode. Buffy returns to Sunnydale from the LA trip to escape and get away. She's reunited with her friends and she tries getting back into school. Of course, the principal kind of gives her a hard time, but eventually she is let back into school. Angel is resurrected and everybody's trying to figure out, we don't know why, and he's lost so much of his sanity. And we get a new antagonist villain this season, the Mayor. The cast is Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy Summers, Alyssa Hannigan as Willow, Nicholas Brendan as Xander, David Boreanaz as Angel, James Marsters as Spike, Charisma Carpenter as Cordelia, Anthony Head as Giles, and Eliza Doshue as Faith. The director is Josh Whedon, which I do want to say that I've heard some really controversial things about the director, that he treated a lot of the cast members really bad, which is unfortunate because this is such a really good show. Low-key, it kind of makes me not want to watch it anymore, but I do feel committed to finish the rest of the season. So moving on. Opening scene, we have the gang without Buffy, but they're scaring away vampires. We got Xander, Oz, Willow, and Cordelia scaring away vampires without Buffy. And we see Willow has a new hairstyle, new hair. Buffy is actually a waiter at this diner somewhere far away from her friends, and she meets this guy who kind of makes her think about her lifestyle. Cordelia is just asking about Xander with Willow, wondering how Xander's been. Giles goes to Buffy's mom to visit, and she is upset with him about Buffy friends with this girl, and the girl tells her about her missing boyfriend. Buffy finds out and he's dead, and he tells the girl, who blames Buffy, you brought this here, you brought these monsters here, etc. Buffy ends up going to look for the girl, ends up falling through an underworld portal where these monsters are. Buffy gets everyone out and kills Ken, the monster, whose honestly acting was just so bad. He was not a good villain at all. Everyone escapes and the underground portal closes. Buffy ends up giving the girl her apartment and tells her to take care of herself, and it ends with Buffy returning. Really good ending for the episode. Buffy returns home, and from this first episode, I was like, okay, now I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Episode 2, Dead Man's Park. So Buffy's mom is really worried, of course, because she's been missing for so long, and she's back home, and she's just being extra cautious, extra worried. Buffy ends up meeting up with her friends again, and it's just one big beautiful reunion. And I love that. I thought it was really nice that they were fighting vampires until Buffy returned. I was like, they're the best. They're the best friends. It was just nice seeing them try and still go on, even though Buffy wasn't there, and even though they weren't Slayers, committed. So they go see Giles, and it's really one big reunion. And Buffy tries to get back into school, but the principal is not having it. He's like, no, you're not getting back here. So that becomes a whole thing. And then they meet this cat that they were burying. This cat that they were burying. Burying? This cat that they were burying. This cat that they were burying. Burying. Actually ends up coming back to life. This black cat they bury actually comes back to life and is this killer dead cat. Due to this wall mask that Buffy's mom ends up throwing this party for Buffy, and Buffy's not really feeling it, so she tries to dip out of the party, and Willow catches her, and she's just like, where are you going? What's going on? I'm going through problems too. You can't just leave. You can't dip out. We're all going through problems. You can't just run away. Xander comes and he tells Buffy, you can't just bury stuff. You gotta deal with it. You have to face it. Otherwise, it will just come back to bite. Next thing you know, it jumps to a scene with gals being like attacked by the dead, which I thought was kind of a pun the way they set that up, because Xander said that and then bite, there were dead people biting people, and then it goes to that scene with like gals, and I'm like, that was clever. I mean, the humorous use of the word suggested one or two things. That is literally attacking everyone. It's like the Night of the Living Dead out here. So Gals eventually shows up and he tells Oz and the others about what's going on. His friend, who Buffy's mom's been hanging out with this whole time that Buffy wasn't here, she ends up putting on the mask and being this demon monster. Ends up defeating it right in the eye, shoves the shovel right in her eyes. Oof. Gets to this scene where Gals, he kind of suddenly becomes hot, where like he gets all aggressive with like, he gets all like demanding and aggressive with the principal, and he's like, he slams the principal against the wall, and he's like, you're gonna let her in. Like, he basically tells him like, you're gonna let Buffy back into the school, and I don't really want to hear anything else. And I'm just like, Gal brought it all, and he did not come to play at all. And the episode ends with Willow and Buffy talking about Willow's experiences. Great episode. Love to see my guy Gals just handing it to them. 3, Faith, Hope, and Trick. So opening scene, Buffy's friends go to greet her while Buffy's setting up this picnic, an introduction of 2 new antagonists, aka villains, introduced. And Principal Snyder tells Buffy and her mom like, yeah, I have to like reinstate you because I have no choice, basically. And Buffy and her mom are like, nah. That was funny. Willow ends up telling Gals that she's been doing some magic. Yeah, because Willow is a freaking wizard. And we meet this other Slayer, this new Slayer. Her name is Faith. A new guy actually comes to the school and he likes Buffy and he gives her a ring, which kind of freaks her out because Angel also gave her a ring and it looks literally the exact replica, the exact same. And she freaks out and it like drops. Buffy ends up confronting Faith about like her problem with like just killing so much. And turns out Faith, her watcher, was killed by the Vamp. And Faith actually ends up saving Buffy in the end. Then they become more close. Seeing Buffy actually ends up the place where Angel dies, drops the ring, and it brings him back to life. For a flash of light, he just transmutes back to life. Episode 4, Beauty and the Beast. So opening scene, Willow is actually telling the story of Call of the Wild. So they're all suspecting that maybe Oz is the one that killed that person the other night. So he's locked up in a cage. Then Buffy has to go to counseling. She ends up meeting this counselor who's like really chill, really cool. Shout out to this guy who acted and played as the counselor. He was just so good. There also was a scene where they were at the table and some of the students, Buffy's peers, were like, oh, I don't know how I feel about the counselor. And Buffy's like, he's cool to me. And then the girl changed her opinion, or her mind, I guess, and was like, oh, yeah, he's not that bad. Like, yeah, she walks in, he's smoking a cigarette, and she's just like, we're not gonna be friends. And he's just like, I'm here to give you my honest opinion, and my honest opinion is that you need to go back to who you were before all of this stuff happened. Willow ends up having to lock Oz in a cage, but Buffy meets Angel, who is like a ravaged beast. Buffy has to chain him up. He is like a wild animal. And she does tell Gals a little bit, but she basically just says that she had a dream about Angel. She doesn't actually tell them yet at that point, like, she hung out with him. And Gals is basically like, there are 2 types of monsters that can be redeemed. One who can't and one who can't. Buffy's new love interest, he tries to make her feel better. This guy, by the way, is super sweet, super cool guy. He doesn't have to pretend. Better than his lame friends. They were losers. Buffy actually goes in and she finds out that her therapist is killed, and it's like, oh, they had to kill him, right? And it's like, dang, I really like that guy. So then we find out that Buffy's love interest friend, one of them is like this beast, this 2-headed beast, which is really interesting because then I thought about what Gal said about there are 2 types of beasts, and I thought that was very relatable. Again, good writing. Sucks that the director was a person. Anyways, he's like this veiny, red, just psycho. But I will say the special effects that they did on his head, like moving, were really good. Great transitional movements with his head, especially being that this came out in like 1997 and their graphics probably just were not as up to date as they are now. Seriously angry and abusive and just terrible and gross. Oz the wolf duke it out to fight it out, and I definitely was cheering Oz on, and he won. Then Buffy and Angel have a moment, and he's like, Buffy, and she weeps, and it's so cute. And the episode kind of ends with this reading again of Call of the Wind, and I assume that this entire episode was actually based off Call of the Wind. Never read the book, but I know it's a very popular literature book. And I'm pretty sure this episode was based off that. Really well written episode, probably the best one so far. It's a great storyboard. 5, Homecoming. So Buffy actually ends up being axed out by this guy, thanks to Cordelia putting it all out on the table. Buffy ends up visiting Angel, and she tells him that she's seen someone, but she also tells him that no one knows about them. And right after he basically tells her, like, I don't want to talk to you anymore, he finds out that she's being watched. The vamp guy with a nice suit rallies up monsters for his Slayer Fest. But the big ball for this one was Xander and Willow kissing, cheating. I didn't really know how to feel about that. I'm just like, okay, yeah, they finally are hooking up, but like, dang, why they gotta cheat on? Like, I love Oz. I love Oz and Willow, so I'm like, dang, why you had to cheat on Oz? And then Xander was dating Cordelia, and they were pretty good together. So that part sucked, and I kind of don't want them together anymore. It was like in the beginning you did, but like. No. Just end up sending Buffy this like video to basically tell her like, you better come and fight, and she ends up killing them in a very clever way. Cordelia actually end up losing after they were going toe to toe to become Homecoming person to 2 other girls after they basically went against each other to see who would win. How funny. Salty AF. Episode 6, Band Candy. So Gals and Buffy are in the cemetery, and Gals is basically, prepping her, and she's and she gets caught though lying about her whereabouts, where she's actually going to go see Angel, and she lies and tells them something completely different. In this episode, there ends up being like this chocolate that everybody starts eating from somebody from a previous season who's in this episode ends up being in, and it's really funny because everyone who ate the chocolate just starts kind of going loopy and wild. We got Gals and Buffy's mom, they're dancing around, they're thinking, I guess they're young, and they're just wild and free. Previously, before that, we have Xander and Willow playing footsies on their table, and I don't like it. Gals in this episode, the whole wild Giles, leather jacket wearing, smoking, dancing to records, it was doing something for me. I was like, ooh, Giles is kind of hot. Yeah. I'm just like, is that Giles? Who is this man? But yeah, everybody's just loopy as hell, and they eventually find out who it is. It's actually that guy who knew Giles, who was calling him Ripper. Insert scene from Vampire Slayer.
Ripper enjoys the hunt.
So Buffy ends up fighting him after he turns into this, or something turns into this random giant cobra. It ends with like this awkward goodbye between Gals and Buffy's mom. I don't know how I feel about like Buffy and Buffy's mom and Gals. Is kind of, it's weird. Episode 7, Revelation. Opening scene, Bronze, at the Bronze, the popular place where they go. Oz is actually performing. Willow and Xander are being so weird, and then Buffy shows up with Faith, who ends up getting a new British watcher. This episode, everybody's just doing things in secret. That's probably why it was called Revelations. Buffy and Angel are training together in secrecy. Willow and Xander are sneaking around in secrecy. It's just secrets all over this place. So that must be why this episode was named Revelations. Again, very clever. Very clever. So Willow and Xander are actually making out, and they almost get caught by Giles. They almost get caught. Actually ends up finding out about Buffy and Angel. Angel tells Buffy about this glove. Xander tells Giles about Buffy. Giles, of course, is highly disappointed, and anytime you disappoint Giles, I just crushed instantly. So Giles basically feels very, very like highly disappointed, and he's like, you don't respect me, you know, you snuck around, you didn't tell anybody because you knew it was wrong. And like that disappointment from Giles, oh my god, like it nearly broke my heart, because I'm like, you can't disappoint Giles. So Giles ends up being knocked out by the British guy, the British Watcher, the other one, when he tells him about the hand. Buffy and Faith end up fighting. Really good electric strike visuals for this one, as far as the like whole burning alive thing. So episode 8, Love Walks. So the gang, they're all kind of looking at test scores, and they found out that Buffy did really good, and Cordelia comes, has her smart remarks that she does, and then it jumps to the scene with Spike. Yes, Spike is back. You guys remember him from last season? Then it jumps to Giles and Buffy, and Giles basically tells Buffy like, maybe you should focus on your future. And Willow and Xander are still sneaking around. So Spike actually ends up kidnapping Xander and Willow, and he's just so distraught by his heartbreak and him breaking up with, I forget her name, but this woman here from the last season. And he even goes to Buffy's mom and tells her like what happened and how he's just so heartbroken. Eventually Angel and Buffy show up, and they're ready to kill him, but then he's like, wait, I have your friends, you can't kill me. Well, actually happens, and Xander and Willow finally get caught kissing. They get caught cheating, but unfortunately they get caught by Cordelia. And Cordelia is basically like, don't ever talk to me again, Xander, like, I'm done. And Buffy and Angel end up saving them and end scene. So Buffy is, of course, fighting some sort of demon, and Willow and Xander are talking about how they want their life back, and now they wish they shouldn't have did what they did. Cordelia ends up making a wish and making a new friend with this demon girl who makes Cordelia's wish come true of Buffy never being existent, and it ruins everything. Every wish comes with a price. Willow and Xander in this reality are vampires, and the Vampire Master is alive. Low-key, I kind of missed the Vampire Master because he was like the original villain. We see Angel is being tortured in a cage by Willow. Buffy shows up as the Slayer, not as Buffy who we know, and she has like this scar on her lip and like this dark eyeshadow. Angel and Buffy show up, they fight the vamps, they defeat them, Giles destroys the necklace, and everything goes back to normal. Episode 10, Amends. So Angel flashes back to his life back in the old times, back in the olden days, and Oz and Willow are trying to mend their relationship, and Oz is just like, you know, I want you back, but a part of me feels like I lost my arm, I lost my torso, and I'm just like, Oz is so sweet, man. Such a sweet man. You never see that. You never see a guy forgive a girl for like cheating, and Oz is just like, he's a cool man. Learn that Angel is being haunted by his past times, his past life through dreams. Buffy is basically feeling everything that he's going through. And let me tell you how Oz is like literally the best, the sweetest. They're just both adorable. He tells Willow, who plans his date, and, you know, they get back together, and he's like, I want you to do it because you want to do it, not because you feel pressure to do it. And I'm just like, so cool. Angel ends up being haunted by Miss Calendar, and low-key, it kind of like it, that's what he get a little bit, because like he did kill her, but it gets bad. Giles ends up telling Buffy like, you might have to kill Angel again, like, are you ready for that? In the end, Angel and Buffy share a moment, and she's basically like, you gotta fight for you, like, you have to fight for you. And the snow falls, and it's a really beautiful moment, actually. Beautiful end scene for this one. So Buffy and her mom end up finding these kids with like these symbols on their hands, and Buffy spills the beans, but come to find out Willow is actually doing some sort of ritual using the same exact symbol with these other witches. All the parents in this episode are going crazy. They're locking up their children because of these dead children who end up being Hansel and Gretel. They kind of turn into these scary goblin creatures. You have to watch that episode. I'm not going to reveal anymore. Episode 12, Helpless. Buffy and Angel are kind of sort of fighting in this scene, and Buffy is learning about crystals, but she's also losing her mojo. We learn that Giles has put Buffy through some sort of experimental trial where he's poking her with a needle so that she can do this test so she can fight this vamp who's caged up. And if she survives, it basically proves that she's a slayer. She's an ultimate slayer. Or she finds out she feels betrayal by Giles. The escaped vamp actually comes for Buffy and they have to fight eventually. She ends up passing the test, but Giles actually gets fired because he basically told her what was going on, or she found out what was going on, and it's just like, how are you gonna fire Giles? Episode 13, the Zeppo. Opening scene, the gang is all helping to fight monsters, and they're trying to learn how to be cool, and he's kind of ends up hanging out with these cool, not really cool, dead people. He is told by Giles that this old portal is trying to be reopened. He ends up hanging out with these people, trying to be cool, but they're the ones raising the dead and also basically being dead so they can be immortal. And they try to get Xander on board, and he's just like, he goes to Giles and he's like, please get me to do something, anything but this. And he gets caught up. Xander and Faith end up hooking up. I know. And the episode ends with them killing the monsters, of course, but it leaving this eerie feeling in the episode. So 14, Bad Girls. The opening scene, Buffy and Faith are kind of getting close. They're killing bad guys. They're being bad girls. Faith is teaching Buffy her ways. She's committing crimes. She's doing things that Buffy normally wouldn't do. New watcher in town. This time a new British watcher. I said that before, but before it was a lady watcher. So a new watcher is town. British watcher, and this guy that Giles, that this huge fat gross nude sweaty creature named Balthazar is just kind of like, I mean, he's practically marinating in a bowl of soup at this point, kind of a new villain, but he doesn't really move out of the tub that he's in. He's wet, he's greasy, and he's bald. Interesting prosthetics though, I want to say. I wonder how the prosthetics of this Balthazar looking creature was put together for this. I will say, Buffy and Faith were killing this season. They were bad gals. They were escaping the police, committing crimes, and as Faith say, you take what you want. Both watchers end up bickering, but Giles has to check him. Giles is the original watcher on this show. I don't know why they were trying to come on here and talk to Giles any other way, but Giles is basically checks him and he's like, yeah, watch yourself. Faith ends up killing a man accidentally, thinking that he's not a man, that he's some sort of demon or monster, and she takes life. Angel ends up showing up and Buffy ends up toasting Balthazar. Angel shows up because of the amulet that's mentioned. Buffy, of course, ends up saving Angel, but of course, before the evil guy goes, he says, you're gonna wish that I did kill you based off what's about to come next. Ends with Faith basically saying that she doesn't care that she murdered someone. Episode 15, Consequences. Faith basically tells Buffy, we both were here, it's not just me, it's you, so if I go down, you're gonna go down too. She tries to set Buffy up. She tried to set Buffy up by literally going behind her back and telling Giles, and Giles plays along until they're alone, and he's like, I don't believe her. Buffy wants to help Faith, but then the other watcher is actually eavesdropping, and he goes and calls someone. I assume he calls someone from the council. Xander tries to go help Faith, but she ends up trying to kill him. Angel tries to help Faith, but that doesn't work, and the watcher actually comes so that he can take Faith. Faith and Buffy do team up and beat these vamps, and of course Buffy has hope, and she's like, maybe she's not that evil. Until it ends with a scene with Faith actually going to the new villain, the mayor, and asking for a job. So this episode was really good because they did 2 Willows, and you could tell that scene with the green screen, it was a green screen. It wasn't good. It was cheap. It looked bad. But as far as especially when they had Willow behind the other Willow, it looked really bad. But nonetheless, it was interesting seeing to have both one character be 2 different people. It kind of opens with Buffy and Willow outside in the grass, and Willow's using her powers to kind of play with this pencil as Buffy talks about Faith. Willow ends up getting sent back to an old version of herself which is like an older episode where Cordelia wished Buffy didn't exist, with that girl who she was doing some sort of witch spell with. Everyone eventually finds out that Willow has a doppelganger, because at first they were all like, oh my god, Willow's dead, she's a vampire. But they eventually find out she has a doppelganger, and they go to the normal Willow to figure out how they can send the other Willow back. And of course, after a fight, Willow is sent back. Episode 17, Enemies. So Buffy and Angel come out of the movie theater. Faith shows up, and her and Buffy meet a monster demon offering them a book for cash. Faith ends up killing the demon, and each end up going to Angel for help. She tries to kiss him, like, girl, why are you trying to kiss Buffy's man? He's like, I'm with Buffy. Like, no thank you. Like, girl, go get your life together. Faith, go get your life together. Buffy catches them not kissing, but it looks to her like something's definitely going on. I think Faith might have gave him a goodbye kiss. And like, Faith has the nerve to take Buffy to the crime scene of like when she killed the little monster demon, as if she didn't kill him. And meanwhile, her new boss summons this deadly demon assassin of some sort. Angel's old self is brought back thanks to shady Faith. Buffy and Angel tricked Faith, and Gals was cool with the demon that the boss called upon. Sweet. So Buffy tells Angel she needs a break, and Angel's like, you still my girl. And she's like, always. And I'm just like, you guys are so cute. Episode 18, Airshot. So opening scene, Buffy is slaying demons as usual. Buffy Gals reads to her that she might have been infected by demons, some demon that she fought. And Buffy learned she can read minds in this episode. This was a really cool episode, but I know it was very intense for the character Buffy. She tries to read Angel's mind, but he's just like, you can't really read my mind because I'm just a mirror. Like, I don't really have anything to reflect. But it definitely was a cute moment. Buffy is kind of starting to lose it and being unable to read minds, and she hears everything. She finds out her mom and Gals hooked up on the hood of a car, and that episode where Gals and all the parents were kind of going wild. Angel gets a cure for Buffy, and Buffy stops the villain, who was aka the lunch lady. Episode 19, Choices. Buffy and Angel are fighting demons. Faith kills, and we see her boss has this magic box. Buffy and friends are trying to get the box. They get the box, but Willow is captured, so they have to go back. They have to trade the box in for Willow, and in the box there's like this giant spider. And Faith and her boss, the mayor, Buffy finds out Willow will be staying and come to the same school as her for college. And it ends with a scene of Buffy and Angel kind of spending their time together as she lies on him. So cute, as always. So 20, Prom. Opening scene, Buffy and Angel are in bed enjoying each other. Xander gets axed out by the witch demon girl. Cordelia was getting her wish from. Buffy's mom goes to talk to Angel about Buffy, and Angel breaks up with Buffy, sad face. Buffy says, I want my life to be with you. But Angel's like, I don't. Ooh, cold, man. Really? Why'd you have to say that? And he tells her he's leaving soon. So Xander finds out that Cordelia's family is kind of going through financial trouble, and that's what she's working at this store to buy her prom dress. In the end, she finds out that Xander bought the dress for her, and shows up to prom with her date, and Xander's like, it looks nice, and she's like, thank you. Angel shows up to dance with Buffy at prom. Episode 21, Graduation Day Part 1. Faith does her per usual killings. The mayor finds out where Buffy and friends hang out, and he shows up to thanks to Faith snitching. God, that girl, so shady. Oz and Willow finally share their love, and they're just so cute. Oh my god. Angel gets shot with a poison bow, and the only way to save him is to basically drink the blood of a slayer. So Buffy's like, I'm gonna go find Faith, I'm gonna kill her, and I'm gonna use her as a sacrifice. But Faith does end up getting, we presume, dead, but I don't think she's dead. And Buffy ends up letting Angel suck her blood, basically bleed her out dry, so that it can heal him. Episode 22, Graduation Part 2, the opening scene. The mayor is in a panic frenzy about Faith because he's worried that she's dead and the whole plan's going to crap. Angel's sweating, dripping, suffering in bed. Buffy finally shows up and Angel has to drink her blood in order to live. He refuses and accepts his fate instead, but she punches him into basically giving in. Angel ends up waking up, taking Buffy to the hospital, and 2 doors down is Faith in a freaking coma. Mayor tries to kill Buffy by smothering her, but Angel stops it. Buffy's friends end up showing up, and they're like, oh, what happened? And of course, Angel has to tell them, like, I fed off her, that's why she's unconscious. Xander's basically like, wow, get to know you fed off someone you love just to save yourself. Honestly, he said we all were thinking. Like, that was pretty messed up. Buffy shows up to the friends. She's alive, and she says, like, she's ready. She's ready for war. Cuts the scene with Cordelia, and then it cuts to the scene with Cordelia and the other Watcher making out. And it's really weird and, like, uncomfortable to watch. And it's just like, what's happening right now? Is this a kiss? They don't even know what's happening. They kiss, and then Cordelia just kind of goes back to her life and just like, I don't think she was really feeling it, and I don't know if he knew what was even happening. Oz and Willow make out, and I just freaking love them so much. The mayor gives his speech right after he turns into a long snake-looking creature who later ends up eating the principal. Poor principal. He kind of begins to grow on me a little bit. The entire graduation class, though, they all reveal that they have these weapons and they're just ready for battle, and it's on like Donkey Kong. Definitely was 2D effects, I will say, with the monster. It was, yeah, very, very bad looking, but you know, 1997. End up being blown to smithereens by the TNT bomb, and Buffy and gang end up saving the day. Buffy sees Angel one last time, and then he just kind of goes away into the smoke. All the friends take one last look at their school. I take that moment in, as Oz says, and then they get up and go, and end scene. I really enjoyed this season. I don't know if it was my favorite season yet far. I don't think it was, but I did enjoy a lot of things in this season, and I look forward to season 4. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment below what was your favorite episode. Did you like this season? And stay tuned for season 4 of Buffy, and I believe season 5 of Supernatural. Also, look forward to me reviewing Doctor Strange, the new film. I'm actually gonna go see it this week, or probably the beginning of next week. Bye.